In our news bulletin for this evening, Premier Toke Talangi returns from Palm 7 meeting where Pacific leaders in Japan look to strengthen mutual trust and build a prosperous future together. Niue looks into the feasibility of bottling and exporting water as a means of generating revenue. Feral Pigs pilot project returns mixed results 2 months on and looks at alternative solutions to the feral pig problem on the island. Enthusiastic cyclists took up the challenge in the Rally of the Rock and Round the Rock that concluded on Wednesday. Premier Toke Talangi has returned from the 7th Palm meeting of the Pacific leaders with Japan in Iwaki, Fukushima from the 22nd to the 23rd of May. The meeting brought together leaders from the Pacific to reaffirm commitment to the Palm process, its current structure as central to strengthening mutual trust between Japan and the Pacific, in line with this year's theme, Building a Prosperous Future Together. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe stated that Japan had fulfilled its pledge to Palm 6 by providing more than $500 million over the past 3 years. Leaders decided to enhance cooperation with a central focus on 7 areas, that being disaster risk reduction, climate change, environment, people-to-people exchanges, sustainable development, oceans, maritime issues and fisheries, as well as trade, investment and tourism. Japan has also finally recognized Niue as a nation, and Premier Toke Talangi says this is a milestone for the island and its diplomatic relationship with Japan, and also some key outcomes for the Pacific region.
I was very pleased that we finally achieved that particular milestone because we've been working very hard. And I thank the people who have been working here and also the Japanese officials who have worked very hard to get us to this point. Secondly, the outcomes of the meeting we had with the leaders, Palm, if you wish, for $450 million worth of support from Japan for what they call the Green Climate Fund to be channeled through the various institutions in the Pacific, including SPRIT, to enable us to mitigate against climate change and the factors affecting us with regard to climate change. And as I've explained, there are various things that we can do with these funds that will help us mitigate and adapt to climate change, not just in the short-term future, but in the long-term future. My belief at the present moment, given the fact that there are 2 types of funding at the present moment, one that's based in Korea, and that's worth about $8 billion. The one that it's now being allocated by Japan, that we need to sit down and figure out what do we need to do to say, keep Niue clean, keep our water clean, build structures that would enable us to evacuate to if there's a major cyclone and so on, improve our roads, our telecommunications. All of those things are relevant to climate change and our ability to respond to climate factors that are affecting us at the present moment. So therefore, our job at this particular point in time is to sit down, work with the village councils, work with everybody on the island, if you wish, to figure out the best way and to prioritize the things that we need to do to ensure that we can generate or we can prepare proposals to provide to SPEP or whichever organization there are to enable us to achieve some measure of support with financial funding for this.
Niue has benefited from a number of projects funded by the Japanese government over the years in areas like renewable energy, with the establishment of a solar energy panel farm set up at the Niue Powerhouse at Tuila. Premier Talangi is also excited over another alternative energy source that Japan will be able to assist with studies in Niue.
Talking about hydrogen energy was something that was demonstrated to us in Japan. Hydrogen energy is the holy grail, as the High Commissioner was saying to me this morning. Converting water into power using hydrogen. I never thought in my lifetime, in scientific understanding of what it was, that it would happen. But apparently the Japanese have managed to finish the process and in the process now of producing hydrogen. And they expect that they will power the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo using hydrogen. We've actually talked to them about the possibilities of a team from Japan coming to do a feasibility to determine whether we can use it for our own purposes and whether there's sufficient water that we have to produce enough to export the hydrogen to Japan as well. So we'll see how we go, and maybe next year or the year after we can do something like that, hopefully earlier than that.
Leaders stressed the importance of strengthening the palm monitoring process and to effectively utilize the ministerial interim meeting and other appropriate opportunities to ensure adequate follow-up to address issues that impact on progress and to ensure ongoing alignment with the region's priorities, including those identified through the Framework for Pacific Regionalism. Water is an essential commodity in everyday life, and the Niue government is looking to capitalize on water resources on island with a potential venture to bottle and sell Niue water. Premier Tokitalangi says this initiative has been discussed for a while as a means of generating revenue and utilizing a readily available local resource.
We've been talking about and determining feasibility of doing the water. We've taken samples of our water down to a lab in Christchurch, and they've come back and said the water in Niue is clean, very fortunately, and we don't need to do very much other than to filter it once, and should be fine for drinking and things. But we're filtering it, as I understand, about 2 or 3 times or 4 times. And we should be bottling it in the next few months. We're trying to see whether we can bottle for individual needs. For example, if you've got a restaurant or Woodlow wants to sell water, we can sell the water. We can produce the water, put it in the bottles, and you can label it and sell it, whatever you want. Marawa wishes to do the seating, Marawa wishes to do that, and so on. Restaurants wish to do that, and so on. So we're happy to do that. We believe that, in fact, if all goes well, we should be spending maybe $10,000 to $50,000 initially to capitalize this and basically getting water and pumping it and putting it in the thing. But we should be able to make a quick profit very quickly if we know what we're doing.
Premier Talangi says that the island uses less than 10% of the water available, so there should be sufficient water resources. Initially, the proposed venture will be based at the Vaya factory with tests on water taken from Vaya. Discussions are ongoing in terms of marketing, branding and other issues related to this potential venture. A pilot project to control that growing number of feral pigs launched in April has registered some mixed results. The project that is being monitored by the Environment Department saw the installation of a number of different types of pig traps around the island. 4 different methods were used, namely lured enclosures, toxin boxes, snare and steel wire traps and hunting methods. According to project manager Hagetonga Tole, the department is currently focusing around the most infested areas of feral pigs located in the areas from Mutalo all the way to Hakupu. So far, the steel wires have successfully captured 5 pigs since April. However, the lured enclosure has not trapped any pigs due to a faulty trigger. This is an issue that they're working to resolve. Hunting experts from New Zealand, Jack Craw and Glenn Osborne, will be arriving at the end of this month to share some alternative solutions, with the expectation that they will be bringing in 3 greyhounds to explore hunting techniques with local hunters. It was a tough competition this week for competitors in the Rally of the Rock and Round the Rock cycling race organised by Niue Tourism. Monday's Rally of the Rock had some confusion regarding signage, but in the end the issue was resolved. The final results saw in the open women's category, first placing went to Belinda Mathers with 59 minutes and 54 seconds. Second placing went to Jade Bosimani and third Tina Vere. In the veteran women's category, for those 50 and above, first placing went to Linda Richardson with 1 hour, 1 minute and 22 seconds, and second placing went to Helen Beban. Junior men's 15 years to 39 years old, first placing went to Kevin Derby with 40 minutes and 48 seconds. Second placing went to William Pasisi and third Boston Vakaheketaha. The senior men's 40 to 49 years was taken out by John McGregor with 44 minutes and 44 seconds. Second placing went to John Bridges and third placing Walter Tungyamua. In the veteran men's 50 plus, first placing went to Simon Yates with 43 minutes and 32 seconds. Alan Tano placed second and Steve Newport in third. The overall fastest time went to Kevin Derby and fastest female rider Belinda Mathers. Yesterday was the Round of the Rock race that took riders on a 60-kilometre course around the island's main roads. And in the open women's category, first placing Linda Richardson, 2 hours, 39 minutes and 28 seconds. Second placing went to Sue Binney and third to Helen Liban. Junior men's first placing went to Kevin Derby with 2 hours, 1 minute and 4 seconds. Second placing went to Boston Vakaheketaha and third to Samuelu. Senior men's first placing, John McGregor with 2 hours, 1 minute and 6 seconds. Second placing went to Simon Yates and third Phil Binney. Overall winner was Kevin Derby and the fastest female, Linda Richardson. And that concludes our news bulletin for this evening. We do hope that you have an enjoyable weekend ahead. Don't forget to check out the Hakupuatua Village Show Day this coming Saturday.